किचनर च ओंटारियो लिबरल पार्टी के आगू स्टीफन डेल डूका ने मौजूदा हाई स्कूल के विद्यार्थियों लिए एक विकल्प ग्रेड 13 ਨੂੰ बहाल करने की अपनी पार्टी की योजना का ऐलान किया है। लिबरल स्कूलों लिए 1000 मानसिक सेहत पेशेवरों और 5000 विशेष सिक्ख्या कर्मचारियों को नियुक्त करने विद्यार्थी पोषण प्रोग्राम का विस्तार करने का भी प्रस्ताव कर रहे हैं।
You know, the past couple of years, in particular during COVID, have been so difficult. Difficult on our kids, difficult on parents, certainly difficult on frontline education workers who've had to deal with incredible disruption. Yes, disruption because of COVID, but even more so, even worse, disruption and chaos because the Ford Conservatives simply do not value or prioritize publicly funded education. And we saw that prior to the pandemic. We saw it with the decision that was made to force mandatory online learning onto our kids. We saw that when they made decisions, again, prior to the pandemic, to take the fight, if I can put it that way, to frontline education workers, teachers and others, the women and men who were on the front lines of education. Then the pandemic arrived, and we saw repeatedly no plan, no proper funding, no real investments. Late in the afternoon on Fridays before long weekend announcements when parents had no time and were forced to scramble, when teachers and others who work in our public schools also had to scramble. Spiking anxiety, making mental health so much worse for our kids, forcing more isolation, and worst of all, the never-ending trying to learn through a screen. Now, I remember my time in school, high school and elementary school. I know it was a while ago, but I can still remember how important it was to be in the classroom, to actually be in a room with a frontline teacher, with a professional, helping me learn what I needed to learn. Teachers have to teach our kids, but they also have to be able to reach our kids. And I know I said this yesterday, but I just want to stress the idea that Doug Ford and his team would think that continuing on with mandatory online courses in the aftermath of what we've all had to go through these past 2 years is simply unconscionable to me. And it tells me, and it tells parents across Waterloo Region and across Ontario, and it tells teachers and it tells students, they simply have not learned their lesson. They do not believe in publicly funded education. They do not understand. Doug Ford himself does not understand that publicly funded education is a core and fundamental responsibility for an Ontario Premier. It is the great equalizer. It's the great leveler. It's incredible social policy, but it is just as important economic policy. And that's why an Ontario Liberal government will do everything we can to set our kids up for success in our publicly funded schools. And it's why I'm delighted today to talk about how we will help our youngest, kids like mine, recover in the aftermath of the past couple of years. So today I am delighted to announce that an Ontario Liberal government will bring back an optional grade 13 for our high school students to be able to recover and to catch up given the chaos that they've had to go through over the past 4 years. An optional grade 13 that will be fully funded at a cost of an investment of about $295 million over 4 years. It's going to be a structured grade 13, not the so-called and frankly discouraged victory lap that people hear about. This is going to be a structured option for our kids, structured so that they can get more mental health support, so that they can learn more about personal finances, so that they can learn more about civics and citizen engagement, and all of the tools that they need to be able to catch up from the past couple of years and be set up for success heading off to post-secondary or to their future careers.